The Casserole, a possible world of microwavable nebulae. Coaquiatl galloping paraphysical reindeer totems, the sphinxes ventricular typewriters of Amerindian wildflowers, lobotomizes the parapsychic chemistry of all possible blossoming souls, the pre-diluvian galloping seahorse, drumsticks, drizzles, the volcano of Antipheus goblins, the magenta albino butterfly, nailed to a butterstick of dandelion mania, a club-footed navy blue coyote woman with her conch shell, medusae hair strands, gnostic schizophreniform lunatica, a meridian wolfsbane, pantaloons draping the carved-out hind legs of Sir Caesar salad, slicked cryptograms, the mystagogic anemone seahorse, eyeballs of the laughing giraffe sultan, nailed to the jewel-laden bed frames, the basaltic hieroglyphics of Kabbalah, spearmint vampires hanging from a crystalline eucalyptus, Buddhist temple, the aroma of fruity dragons, blender, sidereal in a cauldron of schizoid magma, obelisk, neologism, albino scorpion, flaunting upon the surrealist galloping, turquoise Eden, the mandibles of lobotomized psychoanalytic serpentine beehives, drizzle the Martian hot tubs, a decapitated grizzly cranium swims upward, bloodshot for the pyramids of absolute infinity. The rubbery cantaloupe-headed honeydew limb Mustang fawns, the celestial antimaterialist glaciers flagging inside your crepuscular corneas, the antediluvian zephyr, and the carousel of absolute surrealism, the periwinkle dawnbringer of Methuselah's transhuman necklaces, the serpentine warlock dragon-headed wisterias of scintillating foxgloves, of vixen vainglorious, the lingual scorpion rears upon the subliminal tarantula, and the hedgerow of retrograde in Saturn's torso, cacophony of catatonic canoes, wriggles upon the antediluvian waterfowl woman, stuffed with marinated hummingbirds, the bloodthirsty petunia, stuffed mermen, descend from the cauldron in a frame of leptons and dahlia lilies, rainbow turnstiles and wormholes of Neptune's chumash, cyclonic grove of scarlet scrapings, the algebraic mandrake from its pathway, super-subjective coattails, microwave the infinitesimal limousines, Epicurean squirrels are swallowed whole by the solipsistic peregrinating leprechaun scarlet, Cimmerian, cyberpunk, quantum superposition of the pneumatic parapsychic homunculus of the rubbery Boltzmann brain, humanoid butterflies dance upon the feverish cheetah, swimming in the meadows of your arteries vectors, dimensionality of Dionysian lavender stuffed ornithology, rotospheres, the chronosphesia BC, the anti-empirical absolute idealist Stanley Park, and the cosmogonic club-footed glacier of Gomorrah, penultimatical tambourines of titmouse antediluvian woodpecker men, flaring in Golgotha's falconer peregrinating absolute infinitesimal blossoming pomegranates of the mind, parapsychonic kestrel Sikh temple of Gaelic juniper cartilage, octopus women, poetics of the singularity, December with lunar craters, grating off, purple Swiss, the optometrist Dracula, hang nails on a magic carpet of scarlet obsidian griffins, theosophic automobiles and the golden heron's eye, memoria, meta ontologists, crystalline meadowlarks, wildflower the timeless poppies, between lupines of lobotomized luminosity, shackled to riparian meadowlark, Calathian bathtubs, Gilak and the surrealist redwoods, Heidegger gossamer, the seahorse of cosmogonic ornithic hermeneutica, falconer of emerald crystalline libido, the psychedelic wigwams explode with gooseberry klondikes of Coaquiatl ornithos lichen antlered swans, atomists taped to the Hindi Canadian beaver poppies, the quadratic quails of Merlin's clawformin romanticist totems of antediluvian buffalo-headed nightingales, explodes the Dravidian beehives, mandrake the resin sap of reefs of frankincense, marigold warblers, meteorologically the antinomy between the menthol Luxor with evergreen leprechaun green dumplings, mergansers cerebrated eschatological embers, a flagon, Vesta's omnipotent gorgon, the cartilage of nebulous theosophy, ornithology aesthetics, stapled to the Vedic sphinx with mallard, heron, Tannoch limbs, the draping of Assyrian subliminal phenomenologization, a heraldic vampire, stapled to the lugubrious millenarian tambourines, dentalium of wildflower whipped whoppers, gasconades the socketed lava, synergic seahorses of fairy cyberpunk gremlins, the griffin-headed shackled toads, psychoanalytically scorpions, the orioles of oases of Osiris, the Saturnian highways nailed to the dendrophilic mountain lioness, sauerkrauts the Luxor of astral cerebrated albino heraldic squid of Minogian miracles, the antediluvian Mercurian Martian extropianizes the blossoming sea of Christmas tree-eating mermaids, lemons the romanticist, absolute idealist balustrade, honey-dew cantaloupe winter verses, and a spring verses gleaming tentacled purple iris BC's psychonic Osiris, Kestros the metabolic morphemes, and a Medusa moribund, maledictorious albino werewolves, Jupiter of juniper garlands, nailed to the totems of hallucinatory gyroscopes of Gautama, the garbled garb of gibbous prehensile Islamic monasteries, snowflakes, the esoteric sentient, emerald pyramids, the absolute aesthetic faun, pomegranates, the cheesy rubbery mannequins, nailed to Shivite triumvirate lobsters, a Babylonian vampires, Chickasaw dragon fruits, exploding upon the Aristotelian vampire, cannibal violet, lavender glaciers, craters of subconscious Phoenician lattices, jades of tundra turidity, Luxor's widgeon tail, dumplings the rosettes, flocculent psychophysical drapes, millenarian millipedes in memoria, transfinite monasteries of abalone anteater stuffed anthills, that vulcanized, gyrating process philosophic sapient dentalium of crystalline entomology, the unconscious gargoyle hobgoblins its harpsichord of Hindi cyberpunk, phantom energy sockets, the scarlet dialectic that is neither existence nor non-existence, firework, orioles, a psychophysical romanticist canaries, a Canadian toucan nailed to a monastery of absolute theosophy, whoppers of fractoid fractals, and a crystalline tambourine of anthropophobic vampire luminosity of a Syriacian sibyl lobsters, the ornamental diatonicam of Babel's fairy-fondled rhomboid carburetor-soaked lavender cartilage of alchemic kremlins, omnisciently psychiatric, melodiously harmonically, tambourines the widgeon's dragon cartilage, Parvis the phenomenal foam water of Nunavut's nevermore, harmonizes saltines saline, erotic petunia stuffed, metaphysicians, transdimensional sequoia succotash, sapient embers of Gaia's teepeed mandrake trigonometry, the cosmic cataleptic canaries, crepuscular in the carnational Canadiana, the wounded womb of post-reality, staples the mosque, stuffed with seahorse marinated chestnuts, barnacles, barracudas of quilted mental anthropoid grasshoppers, deflowers the opulent reefs of an aurora boreal gangrene of ultimate morphine metanoia, strapped to the Paracelsus pataphysica, the dahlias of cosmogonic scarabs, prehensile lemuria, and overexcitable sempiternal Cartesian coordinates of coconut chloroform cocoon nation, inedible butterstick of autumn's anthropoid sandpiper fawns, the hypersubjective genuflection of gyroscopic, mystagogic, flocculent, post-human sandcastles, nil to Nanaimo's heraldic harpasex, a beehive babel, obelisk basilisk of an albino hummingbird's Micronesian micronationalism, the gory violet skylark, gargoyle of gnomic eye sockets, exploded in an infinitesimal festoon of the Milky Way's anthropoid eschatology, galloping upon the hallucinated foam of Epicurean xylophones, turnstiles the evergreen labyrinth of geometric meteorological hummingbird, cryptograms of canoe, anthroposophical omnipotent saxophone, spitting warlock words of winterized walpy, mummified paranoid skylark, sibyl, redwood pomegranates, obituary phallic metallic gnomic wigwams, anti-rational, anti-idealist starry-eye sockets of scorpion stilettos, paraphrenically timbers the optic octaves of sonata black holes, exploding with wormhole dentillium widgeon whoppers, Saturnian TP, in a wigwam's Welton Sean. Mandrakes, the Apollonian Sargasso-soaked, tentacled elephant crab walks upon the limousine lavender-stuffed, Amerindian omnichronological crucifixes, and a Cronus physical Aribe, the ecosophic philogician retrogrades the cybernetic Pleiades, Octobered purple gorgons scrape off a mermaid-noid merganserizational spermobile, O tentacled talon luxor of Alberta, the flocculent onyx dumpling, and the Yule frankincense, a vampire-stuffed birdhouse, septemberizes the entomological psychonautic casserole of neutronic parapsychic cosmogenesis. A Siriusian crystalline and a neuromantic bayou, a Babel, superglue in the turquoise-billed antiparticle movie theaters, a pulverized and surrealist bizarro, dendrophobic, zygotic, ambrosial prairies, dancing, the sonatas, the sierras of violet northern lights, monasteries, the vulcanized canvas back, and Chumash canoes of cosmic cuneiform Nibelungs, the Tunite Pleiades of Pomo, blood cries, vortexan volcanoes of Decembered antiphysics, BC's cryptogon labyrinth, and collective subconscious Vancouver's birth anxiety, the Epictetus and Caridian of lobotomized squirrels glued to the superconductor coattails, the metanoia, metamathematical Tanoke stuffed buffets of gypsy albino hummingbirds, gnostically cosmogonic, antiperical 100-mile house in a in parahypnotic para-evolutionary grizzly bears and tropic buttocks, the psychoanalytical black holes of all possible animist eschatologies, the Klamath nevermore, Kestrel's the Gaelic bobcat, a paranoid Sausalito, Widgeon's the antediluvian seahorse, Casserole bluebird octopus men, and a dreamcatcher of gossamer, Gongora chocta, waterfall rainbows, sandpiper beige fungi, exploded in a prefrontal cortex, cerebrating cranium of Choctaw solar medusae, in a hyper-objective dance, in a tarantula's xylophonic wolfsbane, pentagrams to Pacific ocular nevermore, in a Neptunian meadowlarks, sublime, crystalline cosmogonic, ornithological driftwood of dromedary data, dances, the frankincense loony Nibelungs, driftwoods, the abalone scorpion dumplings, sphinxes, the Upanishads of Ulysses, Urania's multiscapes, a multiverse looms, the Tanok pomegranate stuffed geometric qualia, optometrist of Shiva, the Theosophist chieftain, onyx, flocculent Klamath, terraced flocculent Nibelungs, of coacutal pneumatic paranoid pentagrams, in a kayak of mysterious serpentine post-marvelous totems of Pleiades, simple gades of horticultural antediluvian vampires, smeared with black forest cake stuffed mummies, the hobgoblin highways of Saturn, nailed to a parade in possible world Kestrel Muhammad, the Pleiades of absolute anarchy, Mergansers, the Martian anthropoid graders of Gilak process philosophically, dribbles the drizzled spirit bear Shiva, Luxor's the hydraulic sphinx, in a possible world Kanada's Egyptology, the headdress of Gardenia Galpin, opulent obsidian fawns, calla lilies the dahlias of deontological theosophical Tannoch sculpted futurist Martian mannequins, blossoming poppy Venus torso, of vulcanized vivariums, of verificationist convolvulus, of serpentine hedgehog hermatology. Nevermore of Yukon's Pleiades, Vedic barracuda Zadata, convolvulus sandpiper, amethyst playrooms, the bleeding bloodstreams of the chessboard pyramid, gibbously hobgoblins, romanticist erotic ammonite, of Lakshmi's anti-ontological antediluvian seahorse headdress, Gossamer's the Vatican, of Gossamer's the Vatican, a pure absolute surrealist resin sap wildflowers, the serpentine timeless Eden within mine uploaded avatars of Ganesh, the lingual quartzites of balsot blubberization, travertine crannies stuffed with vampire-headed scorpions, Zephyr, the sphinxification of the neutronic neuroscience of neologism nootropic mergansers, the crystalline millenarian monasteries of antitheist dahlias, foams the pentagram, nanoscopic scorpion, testicles, turnstiles the platonic Pleiades, gasconades upon the dentilium data, hobgoblins the quarks, in the metanoia of anthropoid lunar valley cartilage, rolled upon the casserole feverdom of cosmogonic, absolute idealist, possible world nebulae.